dryness, warmth, drought, all those things, they're going to intensify. The predictions by some scientists are that we've already gone up 1 degree. I think we can expect a half a degree, which is catastrophic, over the next 10 to 12 years. So we have a real challenge here, threatening our whole way of life.
With me now, Trump 2020 Advisory Board member Jason Meister. Jason, good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, Jason, Governor Brown blames what he calls climate change deniers. He says they're partially accountable for these fires. And I would just like to ask, is there any scientific proof that those who question the United Nations version of climate change want us to send tens of millions, if not billions of dollars of our tax money to the United Nations? Is there any evidence that people who are skeptical of doing that have caused or worsened these fires?
Liz, there's no evidence of it. In fact, the evidence lies completely opposite of it. It's the Democrats and the radical environmentalists that are preventing common sense approaches to wildfires, like controlled burns, like clearing dried wood from these devastated areas where a fire can ignite. And it's time to stop with the politicizing every issue and actually dealing with the problems and solving them.
Right. And listen, I understand. I live in California. You know, you can see the devastation. It's heartrending. It shouldn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. We should all come together to try to help each other during this time. I understand that nobody wants this to be political, but the fact of the matter is political actions can serve to either worsen or help mitigate tragedies and natural disasters such as this one. And in this case, the Democratic governor of our state, through his political actions, have made these worse. He has neglected his responsibility to the people to do what he can to mitigate the harm that comes from these fires, and you can't deny that.
That's right, Liz. It's all about forest management, and California has done everything but managing these wildfires. These are completely man-made problems. These are problems that can be dealt with and can be dealt with properly. And if we had a governor of California that was doing the things that would protect his citizens, we'd have a much better situation right now.
Right, and I'm not sure either how these so-called climate change deniers would even be contributing to what's happening in California, because California is one of the most liberal states in the union. There hasn't been a radical environmentalist initiative that's been turned down here in the state. We're not even allowed to use plastic bags or plastic straws here. It's not exactly like the liberals have tried to pass their environmentalist agenda and failed somehow. They have succeeded in every way, shape, and form, and still this is happening. I think that's why, and I want to show this on the screen, that's why President Trump is blaming Jerry Brown for these fires for mismanagement. He said with proper forest management, we can stop the devastation constantly going on in California. Get smart. He got a lot of flack for this, Jason. He got a lot of criticism from the left saying that's not the kind of rhetoric that we need right now, but he's correct. I mean, the governor himself, in the speech we showed at the beginning of the segment, talked about droughts. We don't have to have the kind of droughts that we have in California if the liberal Democrats in Sacramento didn't mismanage the water supply in favor of the Delta smelt over the safety and security of we the people.
That's right. Liz, you're absolutely right. The president is right on as usual. He is looking at the problem and he's solving it. He's not taking a left or a right position. He's a pragmatist, a problem solver. And if they would just listen to the president instead of fighting with him politically, they might get something done. Look, wildfires have been going on in California for years and years. And they've been going on for longer than Al Gore invented the internet. And we need to have better forest management to stop these devastating forest fires from killing people and putting people out of their homes.
Right. And we said this late last week following the shooting out here in Thousand Oaks, California. You know, when is the time that we're going to step back and put our political agendas aside and actually analyze what political policies or what social changes need to be made so that, you know, in that case, mass shootings stop happening? When are we going to liberals set aside their gun control and say, listen, maybe it would be safer if we had armed guards. Maybe it would be safer if individual citizens were allowed to exercise their right to keep and and bear arms and conceal carry. The same thing is for this issue. We've seen the videos of people's homes absolutely destroyed. If you live in Southern California like I do, everybody knows somebody else who has been impacted by this fire. It's devastating. It's time to put aside our political agendas, put aside our political differences, and look at it pragmatically. What concrete steps can we take that will mitigate this so that we can avoid it in the future? And I think in this case, the president is right.
I completely agree, Liz. It's time to put aside our political differences and deal with the problem that's at hand. And there's easy steps: controlled burns, clearing dried wood. There's many different things that can be done. We have an aged Air Force of dealing with this. We need to up our helicopters and our water supply. There's so many things we can be doing, and instead Governor Brown wants to argue with President Trump about climate change.
Right, and he wants more of our money. And I think any Democrat who hears these ideas, whether it's the controlled burns, whether it's about the water supply and the Delta smelt, whether it's about clearing brush away, what have you, any Democrat who says, no, we, the people, need to stop them and say, why? Why wouldn't you try this? Why wouldn't we do this when there's evidence that it would mitigate the harm caused by these fires? And we need to listen for their answer, because I don't think they're going to have a very good one. Jason, thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.